Hey everybody, it's Maven Monday, and today we're going to talk about how to take better pictures with your cell phone. We're calling this Selfie Help. Tip number one is going to be to choose a better angle. So oftentimes if you're taking a picture, you don't tend to think about setting the scene when your better picture is just a couple inches away from you. So here's an example. I took my subject, little Jovi here, and just in our kitchen, one angle that I could have just taken has a high chair in the background and it just doesn't look as good as another one. And I literally moved just my perspective over just a couple of inches and got a much better picture. So choose a better angle. Number two is we're going to obey the rule of thirds. So centering pictures tends to be boring, and there's often a better balance that can happen if you just choose one of the thirds to the left or the right, or the top, middle, and bottom, and you're trying to put that portrait, especially that person's face or whatever the subject is, in one of the thirds. So I have a little illustration here of what you might do with that. Three is give it a flip. So it's very natural to hold our phones in a vertical position, and sometimes that's a good orientation for your picture. The problem is when you want to use this media later in something like a TV screen, almost everything is in landscape format. So you can maximize real estate if there's more to the subject than just a vertical spot. Flip your phone and then take the picture and you get a much better wide orientation. Four is called adjusting exposure. Now exposure is the amount of light that ends up in your picture, and it's a simple camera setting, and that's going to affect the tone balance of your image quite a bit. So when you're in harsh light, you're going to want to manually bring that exposure down. When you're in low light, you might actually want to bring it up, and it's just telling the camera sensor how to add more light. There is, on most cell phones, a dummy-proof way to do this. On the iPhone, you simply tap, and then you're going to drag up or down. You can see two examples here. One of these has a high exposure, one of them has a lower exposure, and all I did was tap the subject of that picture, and I moved my thumb up and down to change the exposure, and that's just going to give you a much better balanced image. Number five is called find a window. So unless you have thousands and thousands of dollars of camera equipment, in which you wouldn't be watching this video anyway, natural light is almost always going to be your best bet. So find somewhere where the sunlight can light your subject and light it from the front. It's just the best, most even, highest quality light. Even the best photographers in the world use sun when they have the option. So go outside or find a window. Number six is don't zoom, crop. So when we zoom on our cell phones with a picture, when we're actually pinching and zooming, you're actually degrading the quality of that image. It's not a real zoom. It's not an optical zoom. It's blowing the pixels of that image up. It's the exact same effect as if you crop it later, except if you don't zoom now, when you take a picture of the subject, you can crop later and have more control, and you never kind of get rid of that image. So take the picture now and then crop in and zoom later. Here's an example of that. I took that picture of little Jovi there, and then I was able to zoom later with just a couple of button presses on the phone. So you just hit the edit section, and then there's going to be a crop section that you can zoom in there, and you have full control of the image at that point. Seven is mess around with filters, and I literally say mess around. I'm in no way a photography expert. You don't have to be either. Most phones and most social platforms are giving you options to pick some dummy filters, and they make your images look a lot better. So choose one of the preset filters, or you can just go to the desaturation, desaturate the image, take some of the reds out. That gives it kind of more of a modern, a cool look, especially when lighting and color isn't in your favor. Here's an example of doing that. Or play around with black and whites, and you see we've arrived at a photo here that's pretty good. We've cropped it all down, we've zoomed it in, we chose the right angle, and then we played with some filters to make it something that's worthy of sharing with our friends. So that's 7 tips for making your cell phone pictures better. If you want a real photography expert, give one of the Mavens a call, or email us at mondays@frankandmaven.com. Thanks for watching and have a great week.